Greetings, personal governors. I'm JP.WATKINS, and today's topic is Monopoly. Y'all like Monopoly? Yeah. In a time where so many people are struggling for validation, they're struggling either to get jobs, or they're struggling to stand out, right? Just to operate in excellence, whatever. A lot of times we want to try to compete. Now, when we really think about it, it's a book. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it talks about the flywheel. But it's also another book that really talks about the flywheel even before that, the miseducation of the Negro. And essentially, in the book of the miseducation of the Negro, essentially what he says, hey, we got to find the solution to the problem as we find it. So a lot of times what we do is we compete, we copy. Oh, he got a corner store, I'm gonna come up with a corner store. Oh, she got a salon, I'm gonna do my own salon. Because it's easy to replicate, right? It's easy to copy someone else. So what I'm getting at is, in the spirit of personal governance, what can you specialize in? How can you become rare? If you're doing what everybody else is doing, how can you stand out? Like it was once said, the richest are in the niches. But how can you make yourself exceptionally rare? How can you turn yourself into a diamond? And you say, well, man, I can't start a monopoly. Man, I don't have the resources to become an Amazon. I don't have the resources to become a Google. Well, at one point in time, I would argue that they didn't have it. They may have some resources, but they leveraged it, right? Amazon didn't start off as the giant that they are today. Google didn't start off as the giant that they are today. You got to start somewhere, right? So when you are without, work on your within, right? You say, oh yeah, but yeah, JP, what you talking about? Give me an example. I come from a resource restricted background. I ain't got no big boy money. I ain't got no inheritance coming. You know, I'm still working a 9 to 5. How can I specialize? How can I be a monopoly of some sort? Well, let me give you a few examples, right? What did Jay-Z start with? What did Dr. Dre start with? Timberland. They worked on their within when they was out. Now some people say, well, yeah, but you know, they hustled and they did this. But what really made a lot of Jay-Z's wealth? Well, let's talk about Master P, right? You know, No Limit. No Limit is a brand. Bad Boys, P. Diddy. Now these are just a few examples, right? Stephen King, Tyler Perry, those names sound familiar? You know, think of some of the franchises, you know? Think of Star Wars. What's that, George Lucas? Think about that. Intellectual property, right? So a lot of times, McDonald's is a trade. They're not the only person to make hamburgers, right? But they're trademark, right? When you hear McDonald's, that's intellectual property. That's a franchise. That's a system. Okay? So yeah, now they're a franchise, so they competing with other people that copied off of them. So what can you do? So if you create intellectual property, like myself, I'm working on several different books. I work on a series called the Do-Dirt Doctrine. That's intellectual property. So even though it's a lot of things that I don't have, I got the gift of creativity. So now I'm creating the stories, creating a franchise. Currently working on my 10th installment of the Do-Dirt Doctrine. That's intellectual property. Now, hey, once I create it, right now, focus on creating it, then you focus on marketing it, right? Personal governance is also a brand. Personal governance is a brand. The selling, what? Consulting. Selling governance, personally and professionally. Right? So some coaching, some consulting. Also working on a book. Working on some courses. Some resilience training. Some character building. Right? Those are programs. And personal governance is a brand. Yes, it's about personal development. But it's intellectual property. Okay? So the goal is, I'm working on being my own entity, my own trademark, my own intellectual property, right? Brand. And specializing in a way that not a lot of other people are doing. A lot of other people are doing things that may be similar. But how can you specialize? Now we're going to take it to the next level. Now those are some kind of, generalized things. But like say being a doctor, right? So instead of just being a general practitioner, maybe you want to be a cardiologist. Now, once you specialize in hearts, a lot of people say you're more valuable. When you be that heart surgeon, you're making that $300,000 versus $150,000 because you specialize. When you specialize in if you're a nephrologist, you're specializing with kidneys. Or you specialize in an area that gives you value. And think about that in life. How can you stand out? What's going to make you special? What are you rare? Maybe it's customer service. Maybe you provide the absolute best customer service. I think of fast foods, even though it is a franchise. I think of Chick-fil-A. If anybody's been to Chick-fil-A, if you can in the comments, tell me what stands out about Chick-fil-A. What stands out about Chick-fil-A's culture versus going to a Wendy's or a Taco Bell or a Burger King. See, sometimes specializing is just even taking the time to care enough. Just having a delicate touch. Just being concerned, genuinely concerned about others. That's going to make it special. Why? Because a lot of people don't care about other people. A lot of people are only concerned about their own interests. So to genuinely care about others, that's going to put you in a different space. Because a lot of people say, hey, I'm helping you. Or, I love helping people. But by the way, you can get this package, for $39.99. And or you can upsell. You can get our golden package for $5,000. And you get our super, and it's like, you're helping me, but you're helping yourself. So are you really helping me? Are you really genuine about my well-being? So think of ways that you can specialize. All right. Well, that's my time for the day. Subscribe, share. In the meantime, persist, believe, and achieve.